Think of the dawn of civilization. What comes to mind? Maybe the pyramids or Stonehenge. For a long time, the prize for the world's oldest monumental structures went to a place called Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey. A breathtaking hilltop sanctuary with massive T-shaped pillars carved around 11,500 years ago. It was so advanced, so early, that it completely rewrote our understanding of the past. The story went, hunter-gatherers built temples before they even built towns or figured out farming. But what if that story is incomplete? What if, at the very same time, just a short distance away, a town was already thriving? A place not of gods but of people. A place where homes were sunk into the earth, the dead were buried right under the floors, and life was measured out in a sea of tiny, colorful beads. Welcome to Boncuklu Tarla, the beaded field. It's a site that doesn't just add a footnote to the story of Göbekli Tepe. It changes the entire narrative. The story of Boncuklu Tarla begins, as many great discoveries do, by accident. Back in 2008, archaeologists were conducting a rescue survey ahead of the construction of the Ilısu Dam in Turkey's Mardin Province. They were scanning the landscape for anything that needed to be saved before the waters rose. And they found something impossible to ignore. A scatter of artifacts hinting at a deep, deep past. By 2012, a team from the local Mardin Museum, led by archaeologist Ergül Koda, broke ground. What they started to uncover wasn't just another prehistoric camp. It was a full-blown settlement, a community that lived and died here for centuries, right on the cusp of the agricultural revolution. This is the pre-pottery Neolithic period, a pivotal moment in human history. We're talking about a time from roughly 12,000 to 8,000 years ago, when people were transitioning from a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a more settled existence. They were experimenting with permanent homes, domesticating plants and animals, and creating complex new social structures. Göbekli Tepe represents the spiritual and monumental side of this revolution. Boncuklu Tarla, on the other hand, gives us the other half of the picture. The daily life, the community, the home. You've probably seen the headlines. A settlement older than Göbekli Tepe discovered. And this is where things get really exciting and a little bit complicated. The excavation team at Boncuklu Tarla has suggested that the site's earliest layers could date back to around 12,000 years ago or 10,000 BCE. If those dates hold up, it would make parts of the settlement contemporary with, or even slightly older than, Göbekli Tepe's earliest known phases. Now let's be clear. The scientific community is still carefully testing these claims. The established, widely published dates for Göbekli Tepe's main construction phase are between 9,500 and 8,000 BCE. The idea that Boncuklu Tarla is definitively older is a tantalizing possibility that comes from the field director's estimates. But it's not yet confirmed by multiple peer-reviewed radiocarbon dating series. Science is a slow, meticulous process, but whether it's 100 years older or they were built at the exact same time, the implication is staggering. It means the famous narrative of temples before towns might be wrong. It wasn't one or the other. It was both together. So what does this ancient town actually look like? Imagine a cluster of buildings, some with round plans, others with rectangular ones, a key architectural shift in the Neolithic. These weren't just simple huts. The team has uncovered what they call special buildings or communal structures, with stone pillars and decorated walls. These buildings triggered immediate comparisons to Göbekli Tepe. Were they temples? Maybe. But unlike Göbekli Tepe, which seems to be a pure ritual center on a remote hilltop, these structures are embedded within a village. They are surrounded by houses, workshops, and graves. This suggests that ritual and daily life weren't separate. Your spiritual world wasn't somewhere you visited. It was right where you lived. And then there are the burials. Over 200 skeletons have been excavated so far, many found directly beneath the floors of the houses. This was a common practice in the Neolithic Near East. People literally lived with their ancestors. These remains are an incredible source of information. They can tell us about the diet, health, diseases, and even the violence these people experienced. They provide a direct, intimate connection to the individuals who called Boncuklu Tarla home. But of all the discoveries, the most defining one is right in the name. Boncuklu Tarla, the beaded field. Archaeologists have found over 200,000 beads. Let that number sink in. 200,000. These aren't just pretty trinkets. In a world without writing, beads were a form of communication. They were made from stone, shell, and bone in different colors and shapes. Strung together, they could signify your identity, your social status, your clan, or your role in a ritual. They were a language of personal and group identity, painstakingly crafted. Finding this many beads suggests something else: craft specialization. Making 200,000 beads isn't a weekend hobby. It requires dedicated time, skill, and resources. It implies that some people in the community were specialized artisans, spending their days chipping, drilling, and polishing. This is another hallmark of a complex, settled society. You have people who aren't just hunting or gathering food, but who have specialized jobs that contribute to the culture and economy of the group. So let's put it all together. At the same time that people were gathering to build the stunning monuments at Göbekli Tepe, another community nearby was living in a sophisticated town. They built sturdy homes and communal halls. They buried their dead under their feet, and they created a vibrant material culture centered around personal adornment. This doesn't diminish Göbekli Tepe's importance. It enriches it. It suggests a network of sites across the region, all part of a shared cultural world known as the Tepeler, or Stone Hills. Maybe Göbekli Tepe was a central pilgrimage site, a regional gathering place for ceremonies. And perhaps Boncuklu Tarla was one of the permanent settlements where the people who built and used these monuments actually lived. Instead of a simple story of temples first, we now have a much more complex and realistic picture of interconnected communities, with ritual centers and residential towns developing side by side. The debate over which site is older will continue, and that's the beauty of archaeology. Every new discovery, every new radiocarbon date refines our understanding. But the ultimate importance of Boncuklu Tarla isn't about winning a race. It's about giving a voice to the everyday people of the Neolithic. It shows us that 12,000 years ago, our ancestors weren't just surviving. They were building, creating, mourning, and celebrating. They were inventing society itself. The excavations at Boncuklu Tarla are ongoing. Each season reveals more about its architecture, its people, and its place in the world. As the site is slowly prepared for visitors, we're all getting a front row seat to the rewriting of prehistory. The story of human civilization didn't start with a single spark. It was a fire lit in many places at once, in the monumental temples on the hills and in the bustling, beaded fields below. The past, it turns out, was a much busier, more vibrant, and more human place than we ever imagined. Thanks for joining us on this journey back in time. If you're fascinated by the ancient world and the mysteries it still holds, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We have so many more hidden histories to uncover together. See you in the next one.